And so I think it's important that you understand the clinical trial process. I'm not saying that the pill is bad. I just want you to think about how to make health decisions for yourself. You want to be especially vigilant, especially staying on top of it. Once I got the information I needed, I started to move in that direction about how to make health decisions for yourself.
In your mind, what would you say to brothers that's not vaccinated or just people in general?
I'm glad to hear you are protected, and thanks for being so honest here on Keeping It 100, because that's what we do. Hey. It is Keeping It 100. Welcome to the show. You know, when we're here, we are having open and honest conversations about health topics to make sure you have the best, everything you need to know to make good health decisions for yourself. I am your host, Dr. Kristin Motley. And as always, we have a really good show. It's June. Happy Pride Month. We know it's also Men's Health Month. So because of that, we are doing a special show, a special shout out to highlight Black men's health. And so today we're going to be talking about colon cancer. Now, colon cancer came up a few years ago because our beloved King T'Challa, Chadwick Boseman, passed away of colon cancer. And so definitely important to bring awareness to its impact on the Black community. Now, later in the show, we're going to be joined by Georgie, the street practitioner himself, and our very special guest, Dr. Ben Vabi, who is a board-certified general surgeon and a board-certified colorectal surgeon who practices in central Pennsylvania at a very great health system there. You'll see them just a minute in the man cave. But I want to just start off by sharing some facts about colon cancer, particularly in the Black community. Black people are 20% more likely to get diagnosed with colon cancer and 40% more likely to die from colon cancer when you compare that to white people. And that is incredible. We know that there's a number of reasons for those statistics. We know it doesn't have to be that way. One thing that is good about colon cancer is that it is preventable. No one really should get diagnosed with colon cancer when it's too late because the tumors grow so slow. They grow super slow. So if you're getting your colonoscopy during the timeline that's recommended, for most people, it's every 10 years. For some people, they have to get screened sooner because of their family history or other risk factors. If you're doing it 5 to 10 years, that gives the doctors enough time to catch it in time. But the problem, especially with our community, is we're not getting them done at all. And they're not getting done until it's too late often. And so we have to catch up. We got to make sure we're catching it. We're getting our colonoscopies. And we know that there's many reasons that we're not getting colonoscopies. It could be that we just don't know that it needs to be done. Or it could be that people don't have health insurance. They can't afford health insurance. They might not have a physician, so they don't have anyone to write the order or tell them to have it done. Or they may have a physician that's not making sure that they're staying up on their recommended screenings or whatever. But the thing is, if you're watching this, now you know. Most adults need to start getting their colon cancer screenings at the age of 45. So if you are 45 and older, you're not high risk, you've never been told that you're high risk, you should at least be getting a colon cancer screening at the age of 45. And then your doctor, once they do the screening, they'll tell you when to come back for your next one. So that's why we have these conversations, to make sure you know you don't have to depend on anyone else to tell you what to do. You can know for yourself what to do. The next part of the show, you're going to hear from my husband. I asked him to come on and share his testimony because he had a colonoscopy done recently. He's only 42, but he had his colonoscopy done because of his family history. Unfortunately, his mom passed away when he was a young boy, and so he's at higher risk of having colon cancer. So I asked him to come on and share his testimony. So you'll see him next. And then we're going to hop right into the man cave, where you're going to jump into a conversation with Georgie, the street practitioner, Dr. Ben Vabi, and my husband, Bilal. And they will just, they'll just be chopping it up. All right. So I hope you all enjoy this very special episode of Keeping It 100.
My name is Bilal Motley, and I just got my colonoscopy. This is my third one. Back in 1987, my mother died of colon cancer. I was 6 years old, and it devastated my family. My mom, essentially, she found out she had colon cancer. So by the time she found out, she died 6 months later. So imagine how devastating that was. And we were in Mississippi at the time. That's my birthplace. And medicine wasn't where it was today. As far as like the screenings and things like that, it wasn't as sophisticated. So yeah, 6 years old. I don't remember my mom at all. I must have blocked out the memory of her because I was 6. You should remember, right? But so this is something that's haunted my family and my other siblings. There's 4 of us. So at age 30, I decided to get a colonoscopy. It was scary. It was a huge unknown. And once I found out the prep that goes with it, it's not it's not fun, but I kept telling myself it's necessary. You go to your doctor, that you get a prescription, you have to drink the solution, you mix it, you take it around a certain time of night, and yeah, you have to, and it empties out your system. So it's not pleasant, but I kept telling myself this is necessary. I have to do this. And if it wasn't for my wife, who's a healthcare professional, I can almost guarantee I would not be getting a colonoscopy. I didn't get my first flu shot until I was with her. I was like, I don't need no flu shot. That machismo. So I got my first colonoscopy. I was 30 years old, and I was fine. I was like, oh, guess I'm good. And they said, come back in 5 years. I didn't come back in 5 years. I waited maybe 6, 7. And then I took my next colonoscopy, and I was good. This is around 2018. And so around this time, I'm feeling really confident, a little cocky, but so I just kind of forgot about it, put it to the side. I was like, I'm in the clear. I'm good. So it wasn't until I got this letter in the mail, maybe a month ago. Right now, it's we're in 2023. It's the month of June. And I got a letter in the mail saying, hey, it's time for your colonoscopy. If I didn't get that with the way how busy I am and how busy we all are, if I didn't get that letter in the mail, I can almost guarantee it wasn't top of mind. I wasn't thinking about it. So I was like, oh, here we go again. So I got the letter in the mail. I said, let me do this. It took me a long time to schedule the appointment, but I finally did. And we scheduled it. And it was just something that I circled on the calendar that I knew I had to do. I had to go through that whole prep the night before, the day before. And but I did it. So I'm glad I did it, because when I got the colonoscopy, they discovered this time that I had 2 polyps. Polyps are what can potentially turn into cancer over time. And they removed them once they found them during that procedure where they put you to sleep, and I'm glad they did. And it was a huge wake up call. I'm 42 years old now, and it has me looking at the way I eat, eat more vegetables, more fiber, just being really conscientious, not going extreme like I'm used to. Used to going extreme. All right, I'm only eating lettuce for the rest of my life. I'm going extreme too. Like, no, small little changes. Instead of going to get that egg and cheese sandwich, which I was getting every morning, eat a smoothie this day. It doesn't have to be every day, but just little changes. Get a little snack in between meals. You know what I mean? Like a non-fat Greek yogurt with some granola, a little bit of granola. And so starting to make little choices. It's hard. It's hard. It is really hard. So I work in downtown Philadelphia, right next to Reading Terminal Market. And that place is undefeated with all that good food. You know what I mean? And so there are times when it's hard to make good choices, but I'm trying to make good choices. I'm hoping to start exercising soon. That's another challenge. But I want to be here. I want to be here for my family. I want to be here for my profession. And most importantly, I want to be here for myself. You know what I mean? I enjoy life. So I think it's important to destigmatize, colon cancer and healthcare in general in the Black community. And so use me as an example. You know what I mean? Take that leap, take a chance. I mean, it is scary because I will put it off because I didn't want to know. It's just one more thing I have to do or worry about. You know what I mean? Because what if I get bad news? You know what I mean? And even growing up, I didn't go to the dentist until I was an adult. You know what I mean? So it's just but it's never too late to start to make good choices and things like that. So I encourage you to, get a screening for any and all health concerns. most importantly, colon cancer, which is really affecting our community. Thank you.
But let's just say in general, for you, George, who doesn't have, for example, doesn't have any symptoms, doesn't have any family history. Let's say you just happen to turn 45 and you're doing well, you're healthy otherwise. The other testing that you will benefit from, other than undergoing the full colonoscopy that Mr. Motley, had, right? There's a stool-based test which looks at the DNA, cancer DNA within your stool.
Wow.
And that is a test that, your primary care doctor or your provider can order for you, and the company ships the kit directly into your home, and you follow the instructions and put it back in the mailing package through FedEx, and within a week you get your result.
Right. Wow.
So I think this is one of the cancers that truly, yes, we talk about how our race is disproportionately affected, but there's so many options that we need to be able to do. We need to be proactive. We need to take active steps also in trying to prevent it and making a difference. Again, there's so many factors that play into this, but we need to take actions also.
Hey, thanks, Doc. And hey, George, do you have any questions?
I'm just like, I was kind of going to piggyback off of what you said. I mean, because I'm like working out, in a community, and I mean, unfortunately, a lot of brothers, they just don't think about it until it's too late.
Right.
So what would be some tactics or things that I can say to help start motivating some, like brothers to start catching up? Because like you said, it's treatable. Once you get on it, you got a chance of like surviving it and keeping it moving. But again, with our people, we tough skin, and we always wait to the last quarter. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
It's a tough area to tackle. I always refer, when I see a young Black person who is still resistant to the notion of getting screening. For example, they come to see me for something else. Say, for example, a hernia, or they come to me for some other skin mold, right? That they don't like. They want it removed. If they're at that age of screening, they're at 45 years or older, the first thing I talk to them is, listen, you're trying to remove a small mole on your skin when there's a bigger fish to fry, right? I'd always take them back to our late, one of our greatest superheroes, right? Chadwick.
Right.
I mean, this is our brother. This is our, he's the epic of, any Black superhero that we've ever had, right? He died at the age of 43. So I always remind people, when you look at the face of colon cancer, the Black face of colon cancer, Chadwick comes up first. Tina Turner, who unfortunately just passed, was diagnosed with colon cancer when she was young as well. Right? We don't know any of that. So in your situation, George, when you meet with some of these guys who are, again, we have tough skin. We don't, something that we don't like to talk about, right? We need to disseminate. We need to make them understand the disproportionality of this disease when it comes to our race.
Right.
They need to understand that this is the second most common cancer that we have in the country.
Wow.
For us males, it's second to prostate cancer. It's the second most common cause of cancer deaths in the country. But yet, it's a cancer that is so highly preventable and so highly curable. So why are we not taking the steps to get checked?
So what will be some of the early signs?
Good question. So first is that, remember, colon cancer 1/3. So 30% of colon cancers have no symptoms.
Wow.
It's really important for us to know that. That's why, again, we keep hinging on this in our early screening, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you were to develop symptoms from colon cancer, some of the things that you may encounter or somebody may encounter will be changes in their bowel habits. For example, they were having normal bowel movements, and then suddenly, over a period of time, they're noticing that they're having diarrhea. They're having constipation. The caliber of the stool is becoming narrower. They're noticing blood in their stool. They're having pain in their abdomen or just feeling of bloating. For example, the food that they used to eat before and everything was fine. Now they take a bite and they feel so full. They feel bloated.
Right.
All those things, you start having weight loss. You start lacking energy to do your day-to-day activities. All those things are signs that you need to have a conversation with your doctor. Another thing that, it's really important for us to talk about, Judge, is also raising awareness within our primary care doctors. And I don't care whether their primary care doctor is white or is black or is any other race. We need to raise awareness within our own healthcare profession, because if you are having some of these symptoms and you go to your doctor and your doctor does not even mention, some of the screening that we're talking about, right? You have to be the master of your own health and say, Doc, I think I need a colonoscopy.
So true. So true.
Yes.
So true. So true. And Doc, so I had to say something because
yes,
in the past I've had that experience, not with my current person now, but doctor now, but I think it's maybe because it's my energy. I was like, hey man, I'm just here. You know what I mean? I'm healthy. You know what I mean? And maybe he's not. That person wasn't like saying, oh, hey, you're 40 now. Have you done this? Have you done that? It's more like we're just talking about sports and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's not. But you got to advocate for yourself, like the way my wife and I, we advocate for our kids.
Absolutely.
We're right next to our kids. Go to the Nemours Hospital, one of the top hospitals in the world. Obviously, these are highly competent professionals, but you still have to advocate, speak up. Because there have been many times, like, you know what I mean? Like, there's certain things that we see as the parents, intuitively.
Correct.
You know what I mean? Even without the training, you just know, like, oh, no, actually, you know what I'm saying? So I think it's speaking up for myself, me as a man, not being too cool for school. You know what I mean? Like, because I've been in doctors, I'm just talking about sports the whole time. I'm not talking. I'm like, I'm all right, Doc. Come on, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's about speaking up and then and just being vulnerable. Like, hey, I'm worried. I'm scared. And honestly, if I didn't get that letter in the mail saying it's time for a colonoscopy, these polyps would have been missed. And one of the notes for one of the polyps said this may or may not turn into cancer. You know what I'm saying? So that's terrifying. So and I didn't feel anything. And I heard what you said about the symptoms, but I didn't. I felt fine. You know what I mean? I could still break dance.
And again, like I said before, I mean, some of these cancers, 1 out of 3 of them will be diagnosed in people that have absolutely no symptoms, right? So it's really important for us to hinge on that point that once you hit the age where, you are supposed to start having screening, don't take it for granted. Because just like they said, the polyp, one of your polyp was one of the kind of polyp that if it went undetected, in your situation, it may not, with a strong family history like that, it may not take that natural progression, right, from 5 to 10 years. It may take even shorter, for it to start as a polyp and then turn into cancer. It may be faster at a faster rate than a normal average person without that particular risk factor.
Exactly, and it scares me because knowing me, if I was single, I know for 100% fact I would never go to the doctor. So I know that. I just know. I mean, I've had a job. I was working at an oil refinery in South Philly, where they made us. They had doctors there checking us every.
Wow.
You know what I mean? But without that, nope. Like I'm good. I feel good. You know what I mean? I would not be going. So I'm just thankful for Kristin, and I just hope that anyone listening to me is just a little bit smarter than I would be with it, because I feel good. I'm good. You know what I mean? So, but you're not good. You need to know, and that's the reason for like the doc. Like people like
again, I think personal stories like like what you're sharing, Dr. Mr. Motley, is so critical. I really hope that that your story can impact someone that is listening to this, and make them want to take this, that initial step, to getting screened. George, one of the things I also wanted to talk about, to one of your previous question, how can you motivate some of the guys around, in the barbershop and things like that to get their screening? Some of the challenge, I think the misconception about screening for colon cancer also may be the fact that people may think that, they have to pay.
Yeah, that's a big one, Doc. Yeah, that's a big one.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So, you go to the doctor, you have to pay, let's say some copay. And now you're thinking of having a procedure, and that copay may be higher, right? So that's a very big misconception that is probably one of the biggest factors that make people not want to go for screening, Right. And so I really want to make it very clear out there that most of the insurance, I would say, I think all the insurance, including Medicare and even Medicaid, if you have Medicaid will cover your colonoscopy, screening colonoscopy 100% without any extra dime out of your pocket.
Wow, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Dr. Vabi, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
It's amazing. This is really helpful, even for me, that I feel like I knew a nice amount, but I really learned a lot, like about the symptoms and how to talk to people that may be hesitant or that are uncomfortable to even discuss it, how to approach that. This is really helpful. And George, just amazing to always get your view on everything, because you're out there in the community, and you really know people are saying in the barber shops or the laundromat, like you said earlier, and things like that. And this has been amazing. I learned a lot. Like I really did.
Yeah, Bilal. And she showed the picture of you last week, man.
Oh yeah.
I was sticking up for you, but she snuck a picture of you coming out of the
oh wow.
And all that. It's all right, man.
Did you share any of your story of the colonoscopy on social media?
Yeah, my wife's actually going to do that, because I'm a documentary filmmaker, so I'm really selective. I try to hide like Prince, or Frank Ocean, like just show up, appear every now and again. I'm more like a ninja on social media, but she's gonna post about it.
Please. And again, I think it's going to make a big difference for some people who are still believe that it's a taboo not to talk about your some of these aspects, some of these things, right, about your colon and things like that. I think we really need to break that myth within our race. I think we have a much more stronger feeling, thinking that there's certain topics that should not be discussed outside of the bedroom, right? No, it's important for you to look at your poop. It's important for you to talk about, any subtle changes with your friends, your family, your doctor is even more important, right? It's impressive how I still get patients that come to the office and they are still shy. They're still, they feel intimidated to talk about, their poop and their bowel movement. Just their bowel habits and things like that, because they still feel that this is a topic that should not be discussed in public.
Right. Well, like Bilal said, like, I appreciate it, man. This conversation has to be had. And our people need to catch up, man.
Absolutely.
We stuck in our ways. We stagnant, and we dying at high rates. And everything could be prevented if we start doing the right thing and get checkups, start eating healthier, and stop thinking we okay because we waking up every day.
Absolutely.
We getting older every day, so that means you got to start doing more checking up and more check-ins. So
Right.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yes. So Doc and George, I'm gonna sign out with an
Right. Listen, Bilal, you know I'm on your corner. I'm in your corner all day, bro.
Thank you.
I'm always around. I'm always available if you have any questions. You know, your wife has my contact, my cell phone, my email. If you have any particular question, you just want to talk about something in private about the colon, the rectum, anything that's bothering you within your GI tract, I'm always available for you guys.
I'm glad to hear you are protected, and thanks for being so honest here on Keeping It 100, because that's what we do.